This video is sponsored by the book summary and discovery app, Blinkist. At the foot of Mount Badisa, there was a small forest where there lived animals of all types, one of which was a hare. Being one of, if not the fastest animal in a forest that coveted speed, the hare was by far one of the most successful and popular. One of the least was the tortoise. He was not fast, successful, or very popular at all. Over time, the hare's success and popularity had caused him to become incredibly arrogant, and he was often harsh and contemptuous toward other animals, especially the tortoise. He often scolded and ridiculed the tortoise whenever he saw him, saying things like, "Why don't you get off your ass and actually get something done?" Or, "The truth is, you're just lazy. The forest doesn't owe you anything. If you want to be fast, you have to work for it. That's what I did." Or, "Look at you. Seems like nobody wants to be fast these days. Why don't you pull yourself up by your paw claws and get moving?" The tortoise was mostly unfazed by this sort of stuff, but it did mildly annoy him, especially whenever he saw the hare saying the same sorts of things to other animals. One day, the tortoise had enough when he saw the hare lecturing a porcupine about how other animals never got close with him because of his horrible attitude. The hare loved to race. Everyone knew this. He regularly challenged other animals, and he always won. Any chance he had to prove and perform his superiority, he happily indulged. On this day, however, the tortoise challenged the hare. The hare was dumbfounded. "You want to race me?" the hare said, laughing profusely. "Yeah," the tortoise said back with a straight face. After some more laughter, the hare, of course, agreed, and the event was planned for that evening. The fox and some of the other animals began preparing and clearing the race path. The tortoise and the hare waited by the starting line. After a few moments passed, the tortoise looked at the hare and said, "Say, how did you get so fast anyway?" The hare looked at the tortoise with a confused look on his face. "Because unlike most animals, I actually put in the work. I run almost every day." Said the tortoise. "Why do you do that?" The hare paused for a moment. Because I understand the value of hard work and being fast, and I'm diligent and disciplined about it." "Wow," said the tortoise, pausing for a moment. "How do you understand all that, though?" "Why are you asking stupid questions?" the hare quickly said, slightly annoyed. "You know you can't suddenly become faster by asking questions, right?" "I'm just interested in your story is all," the tortoise assured the hare. The hare never gave up a chance to stroke his own ego, and so he quickly continued. "Okay, well, I guess that's just the way I am and how my brain works. And I also learned it from my parents. My dad was fast, not as fast as me, but he taught me from a young age the importance of being fast and how you have to make sacrifices to get faster and faster. He taught me my self-discipline and focus, gave me my work ethic. He worked so hard to make sure I had as many opportunities as possible to practice and get better." Said the tortoise. "What made him do all that, do you think? How was he even able to?" "Well, because he worked hard too, and made a bunch of sacrifices himself to become as fast as he could and live a life that allowed him to spend time teaching me those same lessons." "Wow," said the tortoise. "But what made him that way?" "I don't know. His dad?" "What about him?" replied the tortoise. "What about him? What made him that way?" "I don't know. His genes, being a hare during a time when those sorts of things were necessary for survival." The hare paused. The two were quiet for a moment. "Well, if he was like that because he was a hare, and a hare during that time, what made him a hare during that time?" the tortoise asked. "Holy shit," the hare said before answering. For 10 more minutes, the tortoise continued asking the hare questions, prodding further and further into the past, deeper and deeper into the explanation of the hare's speed. Finally, the hare reached the beginning of everything, with no more causes and no more explanations left. "So," said the tortoise, "you're fast because you were born a hare, a particular kind of hare, and experienced a particular kind of life. But that's only because of your parents, how your parents' lives were, and where and when they had you. But all that was only because of their parents, and how they were, and where and when they were, all the way back to the first hares in history. But there are only hares in history at all because life operates through evolution, and ancient lagomorphs mated and created the first hares. But that only happened because life started at all, which only happened because the right conditions developed on Earth. But of course, Earth only came to exist because of billions of years of prior cosmic events, which all only happened because the Big Bang occurred and time and space unfolded in a particular manner. So I guess technically, you're fast because the Big Bang occurred and time and space unfolded in a particular manner. Huh. The Hare stared at the ground with widened eyes and tensed muscles throughout his body and face. He was confused, but not because he didn't understand. What about me, though? The Hare said, looking up, trying to hold on to his lifetime worth of delusions. Of course, I made the difference. I chose to do what I did with everything that's happened to me. How? Replied the Tortoise. How, if you didn't choose anything that's happened to you, did you choose that? Free will, the Hare said, less confidently. It's one of the main things that makes us hares different from everything else. Okay, but if everything that has happened to you made you who you are, but you didn't control or choose any of what happened to you, how do you control who you are? The Tortoise responded. The Hare fell backwards onto his back, laying in the grass. Soon, the Fox reemerged from the now cleared race path. He approached the Hare and Tortoise and got into position. He counted down. The Tortoise took off. The Hare stayed laying in the grass. What are you doing? The Fox yelled. The race started, get up. The Hare didn't say anything, rolling over onto his side. Slowly but steadily, the Tortoise made his way down the race path and eventually passed the finish line, winning the race. After a celebration with some of the other animals, the Tortoise returned to the starting line. The Hare was lying flat on his back, looking up at the sky. The Tortoise approached him. I don't understand, the Hare said without moving his body. What? Replied the Tortoise. Why did you even challenge me to the race? Isn't it all pointless? Win or lose, it wasn't really because of you, at least not in the way that it feels like it is. It's basically all just because of arbitrary chance. I'm fast because I'm lucky. The Hare rolled over onto his side. The Tortoise moved a bit closer, feeling a little bad for him. Yes, all that's true, said the Tortoise. Being fast, smart, successful, it's not just hard work, even if it's directly a product of hard work. It's chance. Even being someone who works hard is itself a product of chance. But working hard and doing what you're meant to do is still necessary. You still have to run to be fast, and being fast is still useful. We're all just pawns in the universe's sick game, tricked into carrying out its grunt work. When you don't realize this, you act like a real peacock. But it's a useful delusion to believe that you are in control of your life. You have to know that you have no free will, but live as if you do. The Tortoise concluded. The Hare lay in silence for a moment. Then, he jumped back up to his feet. All right, rematch then, the Hare said. This video was sponsored by Blinkist. Discussing free will, German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer wrote, "Let us imagine a man who, while standing on the street, would say to himself, 'It is 6 o'clock in the evening, the working day is over. Now I can go for a walk, or I can go to the club. I can also climb up the tower to see the sunset. All of this is strictly up to me. In this I have complete freedom. But still, I shall do none of these things, but with just as free a will, I shall go home to my wife.' This is exactly as if water spoke to itself. I can make high waves, yes, in the sea during a storm. I can rush down a hill, yes, in the riverbed. I can plunge down foaming and gushing, yes, in the waterfall. I can, finally, boil away and disappear, yes, at a certain temperature. But I am doing none of these things now, and am voluntarily remaining quiet in clear water in the reflecting pond." This was written in the 1830s, nearly 2 centuries ago. Although we have made incredible strides in recent time toward closer and clearer understandings about our nature and reality, classic philosophical work from hundreds and thousands of years ago remain incredibly relevant and important to today. Blinkist is an app that makes it easy to discover, sift through, and learn from some of the most important classic works of philosophy. It works by providing around 15-minute explainers and breakdowns that can be both read and listened to, even while offline. Blinkist has titles from thinkers like Schopenhauer, Friedrich Nietzsche, Immanuel Kant, René Descartes, Simone de Beauvoir, Lao Tzu, Seneca, and so much more. Of course, Blinkist also has major contemporary nonfiction as well, spanning over 5,500 nonfiction books and podcasts in over 27 different categories, covering anything from physics to psychology to finance to physical health and so much more. And through Blinkist Connect, premium users can also share their account with one other person at no additional cost, allowing you to share your favorite selected books with someone close. Use the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen and you'll receive 2 memberships for the price of 1, a 7-day free trial, and 25% off Blinkist Premium. And of course, as always, thank you so much for watching in general, and see you next video.